Marcus Aurelius. The best answer to anger is silence. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. How ridiculous and how strange to be surprised at anything which happens in life. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Confine yourself to the present. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. You can commit injustice by doing nothing. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Each day provides its own gifts. Give yourself a gift, the present moment. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. Have I been made for this? To lie under the blankets and keep myself warm? Conceal a flaw, and the world will imagine the worst. Life is neither good or evil, but only a place for good and evil.
Settle on the type of person you want to be and stick to it, whether alone or in company. Consider at what price you sell your integrity, but please, for God's sake, don't sell it cheap. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. Not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient, for he that is so, wants nothing. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. All cruelty springs from weakness. Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life. Throw me to the wolves and I will return leading the pack. As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. They lose the day in expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. Every night before going to sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness did I overcome today? What virtue did I acquire? Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. We are always complaining that our days are few, and acting as though there would be no end of them. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that things are difficult. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Man is affected not by events but by the view he takes of them. You want to live, but do you know how to live? You are scared of dying, and tell me, is the kind of life you lead really any different from being dead? The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. The bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. It is not that we have so little time but that we lose so much. Ellipsis. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use what we have wastefully. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place but to be a different person. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them but because we had them. Life is never incomplete if it is an honorable one. At whichever point you leave life, if you leave it in the right way, it is whole. Music is a moral awe. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and charm and gaiety to life and to everything. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. Love is a serious mental disease. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. To be conquered by yourself is of all things most shameful and vile. Democracy is a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike. Love is the joy of the good, the wonder of the wise, the amazement of the gods. Every heart sings a song, incomplete, until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. At the touch of a lover, everyone becomes a poet. People are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wilt and die. A hero is born among 100. A wise man is found among 1,000. But an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. The goal of life is living in agreement with nature. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say. The avaricious man is like the barren, sandy ground of the desert, which sucks in all the rain and dews with greediness, but yields no fruitful herbs or plants for the benefit of others. All things are parts of one single system, which is called nature. The individual life is good when it is in harmony with nature. The end may be defined as life in accordance with nature, or, in other words, in accordance with our own human nature as well as that of the universe. Steel your sensibilities, so that life shall hurt you as little as possible. Fate is the endless chain of causation, whereby things are, the reason or formula by which the world goes on. No one entrusts a secret to a drunken man, but one will entrust a secret to a good man. Therefore, the good man will not get drunk. When a dog is tied to a cart, if it wants to follow, it is pulled and follows, making its spontaneous act coincide with necessity. But if the dog does not follow, it will be compelled in any case. So it is with men too. Even if they don't want to, they will be compelled to follow what is destined. It is in virtue that happiness consists, for virtue is the state of mind which tends to make the whole of life harmonious. If you lay violent hands on me, you'll have my body, but my mind will remain with Stilpo. That which exercises reason is more excellent than that which does not exercise reason. There is nothing more excellent than the universe, therefore the universe exercises reason. No matter whether you claim a slave by purchase or capture, the title is bad. They who claim to own their fellow men, look down into the pit and forget the justice that should rule the world. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." Don't just say you have read books. Show that through them you have learned to think better, to be a more discriminating and reflective person. Books are the training weights of the mind. They are very helpful, but it would be a bad mistake to suppose that one has made progress simply by having internalized their contents. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Other people's views and troubles can be contagious. Don't sabotage yourself by unwittingly adopting negative, unproductive attitudes through your associations with others. Remember, it is not enough to be hit or insulted to be harmed. You must believe that you are being harmed. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Which is why it is essential that we not respond impulsively to impressions. Take a moment before reacting, and you will find it easier to maintain control. I laugh at those who think they can damage me. They do not know who I am. They do not know what I think. They cannot even touch the things which are really mine and with which I live. To accuse others for one's own misfortune is a sign of want of education. To accuse oneself shows that one's education has begun. To accuse neither oneself nor others shows that one's education is complete. Nature hath given men one tongue but 2 ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak. Attach yourself to what is spiritually superior, regardless of what other people think or do. Hold to your true aspirations no matter what is going on around you. Now is the time to get serious about living your ideals. How long can you afford to put off who you really want to be? Your nobler self cannot wait any longer. Put your principles into practice, now. Stop the excuses and the procrastination. This is your life. You aren't a child anymore. The sooner you set yourself to your spiritual program, the happier you will be. The longer you wait, the more you'll be vulnerable to mediocrity and feel filled with shame and regret, because you know you are capable of better. From this instant on, vow to stop disappointing yourself. Separate yourself from the mob. Decide to be extraordinary and do what you need to do, now. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Most of what passes for legitimate entertainment is inferior or foolish and only caters to or exploits people's weaknesses. Avoid being one of the mob who indulges in such pastimes. Your life is too short and you have important things to do. Be discriminating about what images and ideas you permit into your mind. If you yourself don't choose what thoughts and images you expose yourself to, someone else will, and their motives may not be the highest. It is the easiest thing in the world to slide imperceptibly into vulgarity. But there's no need for that to happen if you determine not to waste your time and attention on mindless path. Caretake this moment. Immerse yourself in its particulars. Respond to this person, this challenge, this deed. Quit evasions. Stop giving yourself needless trouble. It is time to really live, to fully inhabit the situation you happen to be in now. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Don't wish to be thought to know anything, and even if you appear to be somebody important to others, distrust yourself. For, it is difficult to both keep your faculty of choice in a state conformable to nature, and at the same time acquire external things. But while you are careful about the one, you must of necessity neglect the other. God has entrusted me with myself. No man is free who is not master of himself. A man should so live that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things. The world turns aside to let any man pass who knows where he is going. What really frightens and dismays us is not external events themselves, but the way in which we think about them. It is not things that disturb us, but our interpretation of their significance. Never depend on the admiration of others. There is no strength in it. Personal merit cannot be derived from an external source. It is not to be found in your personal associations, nor can it be found in the regard of other people. It is a fact of life that other people, even people who love you, will not necessarily agree with your ideas, understand you, or share your enthusiasms. Grow up. Who cares what other people think about you? You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself. For men sell themselves at various prices. This is why, when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "Appear by all means." And when Florus inquired, "But why do not you appear?" he answered, "Because I do not even consider the question." For the man who has once stooped to consider such questions, and to reckon up the value of external things, is not far from forgetting what manner of man he is. I must die. Must I then die lamenting? I must be put in chains. Must I then also lament? I must go into exile. Does any man then hinder me from going with smiles and cheerfulness and contentment? Difficulty shows what men are. Therefore, when a difficulty falls upon you, remember that God, like a trainer of wrestlers, has matched you with a rough young man. Why? So that you may become an Olympic conqueror, but it is not accomplished without sweat. Remember that you ought to behave in life as you would at a banquet. As something is being passed around it comes to you, stretch out your hand, take a portion of it politely. It passes on, do not detain it. Or it has not come to you yet, do not project your desire to meet it, but wait until it comes in front of you. So act toward children, so toward a wife, so toward office, so toward wealth. Tentative efforts lead to tentative outcomes. Therefore, give yourself fully to your endeavors. Decide to construct your character through excellent actions and determine to pay the price of a worthy goal. The trials you encounter will introduce you to your strengths. Remain steadfast. And one day you will build something that endures. Something worthy of your potential.